What's up, fragrant world? Welcome back to another Stay Fresh production. Today we're talking about a fragrance house from Sweden. You don't hear of a lot of perfumes coming out of Sweden, at least I haven't. And you don't see many reviews of perfumes coming from that part of Europe here on YouTube, but today I'm bringing you a house called SweDoft. And you may have seen some reviews on them before from some other reviewers. I know Dan, Mr. Smelly, has talked about him. I know Chris from Fragmental has talked about him. And I'm happy to share my thoughts. The house was gracious enough to send me 5 fragrances, 1 in a full bottle form and 4 samples. So I'm going to give you my true thoughts on the fragrances. Yes, they were sent to me for free, but you know how we do here. I'm going to be honest, tell you what I think about the scent, tell you what I think about the value proposition, all those things. So let's jump right into it. First off, I'm just going to show you a little bit of the presentation here. So the 4 samples that they sent, they're 10 milliliter samples. I'll show you them in a second, but they did come in this cardboard box, which is a simple box, but it does have some nice detailing. And I do want to point out that that's something I really appreciate about this house is the details. They have these fine details that are really nice. Now, wax is a common theme. You're going to see a lot of that, and it is stamped with their logo. There was twine that was holding this together when I first received it, which is really nice. And inside would rest the 4 samples. So there's that. We don't need this anymore. So let's dive into these fragrances. First one up is a 10 milliliter decant of Royal Satisfaction. I was really eager to try this one. I was hearing some good things. And thanks to Christian from Argos Fragrances, he actually heeded my call for a need for a better way to sample fragrances off of skin and on something else. And so he sent this to me, which is an awesome little device. I could set it down and pin some blotters here and I could smell. And I have these little felt pads, which are much better than paper to smell from. So I'm gonna use these. You'll see. Anyway, so I got Royal Satisfaction here. I'm just gonna remind myself of the scent. And this one is very elegant. This one confuses me though, mainly because of the note breakdown. On the website, you're gonna find 4 notes for this: saffron, leather, patchouli, and oud. This fragrance smells nothing like those notes. I get a little bit of spice when you first spray it on from that saffron, but beyond that, it is sweet. It is so smooth. It's kind of creamy. I think there's more in here than what they say there. So the note breakdown is something, honestly, I can't even really go off of that. So I'm not even gonna reference that anymore. But this fragrance, it doesn't really remind me of anything. It's sweet, like I said. It's very smooth and creamy. It almost has a kind of a floral sweetness in there. There's something in it that does make it more of a unisex fragrance, which I think a lot of these are. It is so just high class. It smells very put together. It also smells very interesting and a little seductive. Again, there's a sweetness in there that is very alluring. I don't get anything earthy from it. I don't get anything really woody from it. I don't even get much leather in here. It's just sweet and smooth. This is, again, a great unisex scent. I do really enjoy this one. This might be one of my favorites. So that is Royal Satisfaction. Next one up, this is called Cambodian Oud. I was very hesitant to smell this. I do like these little 10 milliliters. One other thing I do love is these atomizers. This is a little different. You don't really see this kind of detail that much. The little duotone silver and gold, they all have that. Even the bottles do. I love that. It's just a really nice touch and look. It feels good to hold and to spray. It's nice. Anyway, Cambodian Oud, I was nervous about it. I sprayed it and then I realized I don't need to be nervous, because this smells like Tom Ford Oud Wood. Literally, that is what I get. This smells like Oud Wood from Tom Ford, which is a very popular niche style fragrance coming from a designer house, their private blend line. It's very well known and loved in the community. It's been around since 2007. It's not quite as dry and woody, even though Oud Wood is pretty smooth and has a creamy nature. This one is even more creamy. It has the same creaminess as I get in Royal Satisfaction, and there's a bit of a DNA to these fragrances, which I can really appreciate. there is a little bit of an olfactory signature here in the base of the fragrance where that smoothness is coming from. And again, the smoothness and the creaminess is intensified here as it compares to oud wood, at least in my mind. I gotta say, I love this scent. I was a little disappointed because this does kind of just straight up smell like a rip of oud wood. Like, I don't think this was an accidental thing, but again, it smells fantastic. And the quality is beautiful. I wore it on my skin, and this is not gonna cost you quite as much as oud wood. We're gonna get to pricing a little bit later, but I am happy with this. I was hoping to avoid clone-like offerings in the line, but they did well here. They did get very close to oud wood, and they kind of tweaked it a bit to add their own thing. Again, that creaminess makes it really nice. Just like oud wood doesn't really smell like oud at all, so don't worry about it. That's Cambodian Oud. All right, next one up. This is called 565. Might be like, what the heck is that? Well, this fragrance is created in homage to Casanova. And basically 565 is the alleged number of partners, of female partners that he had in his lifetime. I don't know if that's true. Obviously, I can't really verify that, but I think that is recorded somehow. Anyway, this pays homage to that. So you might think of it as a very like suave masculine scent. This is very unisex, and this is beautiful. It kind of maybe even leans feminine depending on how you want to judge it. But it is it's a really, I would say it's a pretty scent. It does kind of smell like a pretty boy in a way. It's characterized by, once again, a very smooth and creamy nature that is sitting underneath some fruits and some citruses. There's bergamot and lemon, there's orange in here. I don't know what fruits are in here. Honestly, I can't tell. It's a big mixture of the citruses and the fruits. It's bright, it's a little fresh, it's very sweet, and again, creamy and smooth, and just a, again, pretty scent. It's a beautiful scent. If you like a sweet, creamy, fruity scent, there's a little bit of a floral nature to my nose. And again, there's some bright citruses up top. It smells beautiful. Great for the spring, maybe even summer. Not my favorite one, but it smells great. Okay, the next one up is the last sample, which is more like a decan. It's too big for a sample. That's called Estrogens. Quite a strange name and a very misleading one at that. I don't know where they came up with this name. This is technically a unisex fragrance. Don't be turned off by the name. Now, I gotta say, the scent is beautiful, but it smells very much like the Cambodian Oud. It's not quite as woody and maybe even a little sweeter, but to me, they smell very similar. It smells like they're kind of based on the same formula in a way, and they almost compete with one another. And there is some agarwood, there's sandalwood, rosewood, there's pepper, there's tonka bean, there's amber. It's warm and sweet and woody, and again, smells very similar to Cambodian Oud, so it also smells similar to Tom Ford Oud wood. So I'm not really sure what's up with that. Again, really pleasant, and again, don't be fooled by the name. This is very unisex, again, kind of like oud wood, which might lean masculine to some, so don't worry about the name. I don't know what's up with the name, but it smells nice. I'm just a little confused with the cross-pollination here, but nice scent. This is their flagship fragrance for sure. This is one you've probably already seen talked about. Comes in this beautiful box, all the 100 ml bottles. In fact, I think all the bottles in general will come in this box. Again, we'll talk about sizing and pricing in just a second. And as you can see, this is called Rasputin. Interesting that they chose quite an infamous figure to represent this fragrance. And the little that I know about Rasputin, I don't know if it's really portrayed in the fragrance itself. I don't understand the complete artistic connection here between his life and how the fragrance was intended to smell, but I mean, it's a cool image, it's attention grabbing. There's a little bit of an enigmatic nature to the fragrance too, which Rasputin was kind of known as a mysterious man, but other than that, I don't know how they're connected. Anyway, the box will open up. It was also wrapped in twine, so it wouldn't just come loose like this. Beautiful wooden box. I think it's handmade, honestly. I love it. And this would come off. You see more wax here. And on the back of this, you're gonna see the formula number. It says handmade in Sweden. I love that. Again, details are really cool here. And inside, the bottle sits. Very snug and this beautiful kind of like this material. It's not just straight up foam. It's very squishy and soft. It's not silk or anything like that. It's a nice touch. It holds it firmly in there. Again, you can see more wax. This is simply used to pull the bottle out because it sits very snug. We're gonna pull it out of here, set this down, and this would just come off. You put it back in the box. This is your 100 milliliter bottle. A very handsome bottle, if I must say so myself. Wooden cap, nice touch. You see that same atomizer? I really do enjoy that. And I'm gonna spray this on my hand here. I have something else here. I'll talk about that later. So here we go. This, I think, is my favorite one because it is the most interesting. It's the most unique. I've never smelled anything that smells quite like this other than a facet of one fragrance I already have, which I've talked about. Wow. This, again, it's so different, but it's so pleasant. It's very spicy. It reminds me of, like, honestly, when I first smelled it, I will say, I smelled it on my hand. I wasn't crazy about it. It reminded me of hot tamales or red hots, you know, those hot red sweet candies. That's the first thing that I smelled, and I was like, I don't want to smell like this. But it wasn't until I gave it a full wearing that I really started to understand the scent. And again, it goes back to, you gotta give it a full wearing to really know how it develops on your skin. You cannot purely judge a fragrance by smelling it on your hand and coming back to it, see how it develops. We don't smell fragrance that way when we wear it, unless someone is up on your skin, on your neck all day, following you around. They're not gonna smell you like that. They're gonna smell the scent bubble, the sillage, and that's what you're gonna pick up as well as the wearer. So I smelled it like this and I was like, yeah, it's okay. I thought I smelled all the facets and it came together okay, but I wasn't wowed by it. It wasn't until I gave it the full wearing that I really got the full experience. Now, what I get the most of in here is cardamom. And the cardamom note, its intensity reminds me of Matthew Mellig's number 59, the frankincense, tobacco, and cardamom fragrance. I've talked about that before. I think I discussed that in, I don't remember which video, but whatever the video is, I'll link it up here. You'll see. But it's that cooling, fresh, and spicy nature from the cardamom. It is in full force here. It is immediately backed by some cinnamon, and that is what reminded me of the hot tamales. That's based on cinnamon. It's a red, hot spiciness next to that cooling cardamom. So it's an interesting little duality here. And behind that, I get a little, they say there's Mexican chocolate in here. I mainly get like a dry kind of cacao vibe, especially as it dries down. It's kind of a powdery chocolate nature, more so than like a creamy milk chocolate or dark chocolate thing. It's more like a powdery cacao, and I get that kind of in the background a bit, and it does add a nice dusty but sweet texture to that fragrance. And again, that spiciness is still up front. It's an unusual scent, but I love it. I can't stop smelling it, and again, it smells fantastic in the air when you wear it. This is my favorite one for sure. Now let's talk about performance. All of these performed well. I think they're all eau de parfum. I was getting at least 8 hours off of my skin. Even after showering, I could still kind of smell them. They didn't project hugely, but they did leave a nice scent trail. So don't even worry about performance. They're nicely concentrated. They are gonna last on the skin. Now I have the pricing here. Let's talk about it. The cool thing is that they come in multiple sizes. The 10 milliliter sizes, as you saw here. The one thing I couldn't find about those is I could not find those on the website. Unless I wasn't looking properly, I could not find the 10 milliliter size on the website, which was strange. They do have a sample set though. They have 13 fragrances. You can buy the entire set, 13. They're 1.75 milliliter samples. You get the whole set for $60. Seems a little steep, but again, you're getting 13 fragrances, so that's not so bad. Now, one thing I do appreciate is that this is kind of a niche brand in terms of their concept, and their prices are cheaper than what you would see in, the niche market. Outside of the 10 milliliter size, and obviously these 1.75 milliliters, they also come in a 30 milliliter size. You can get that for $55. $55.34 roughly. I did the math from the euro. 55 bucks for 30 mil. That's a little steep for 30 milliliters, but the quality is there. The 50 milliliter size, you're paying $105.66 for a 50 milliliter bottle. Again, in the niche world, that's on the lower end of things. And again, I think the quality is there. 100 milliliters of any of the fragrances, $140.87. So those are the prices, not bad for niche. I will link SweDoft down in the description. If you enjoyed the video, let me know. Let me know if you've tried any of these fragrances. If you're interested in trying the house, let's talk about it. If you like the video, give me a like the video. Really appreciate your support. And if you haven't subscribed, do it. Thank you so much for tuning in. Peace. I'll see you in the next one.